Welcome, everybody, to the conclusion of Season 1 of the Busa Riding God King podcast. Unfortunately, we are not joined today by Daniel. It is just Adam and I. I being
It's actually
Chris,
been us
aka
two.
Dante. What's up?
I'll cut out my interruption, don't worry. And I'm Adam Mataway. I may sound different because I'm currently on a mini vacation visiting my parents. I'm on my laptop mic, so no mic today. No mic videos today. Cue
And
sadness track.
we wanted to talk today about some of the issues that one may face when deciding to walk
slow
the
down.
path of the Busa Riding God King.
Let's talk about this episode first. This is the conclusion episode of the first season. This first season being our review of our steps, our path, the guidelines for a Busa going down the path laid in front of them. We've already gone over all the steps in the previous episodes, so here we are now at the end. And then I can either cut in what you just said or you can reintroduce it. Up to you.
So on today's episode, since it's the conclusion of the basically descriptive episodes of the Busa Riding God King path, I wanted to have this episode be about the problems one may face once they decide to become a Busa Riding God King and once they decide to walk down this path of self-improvement. So to start off, I believe Adam faced a number of obstacles once he left Miami and went back to school. I was no longer around to kind of bug him and stuff and help him out. So then he kind of struggled a little bit while he was on his own. So if you have anything to say about that, Adam.
Of course I do. I realized the first
Here, hold up one second.
problem.
I kind of want to not really like interview style. Obviously, this is just me talking, like not recorded voice, but I want to kind of go and ask you. So Adam, what was your number one problem, right? Like once you went away, kind of thing, and then we just walk through it like that.
All right, so ask that.
All right, so Adam.
All right, then actually just reintroduce this as like mock interview, you know?
All right. So in this episode, I've decided that I kind of want to explore the problems and difficulties one may face while undergoing the path of the Busa Riding God King and trying to improve themselves. Since Adam is a Busa and I am a Busa, I figure that I'll ask Adam a series of questions to determine what his main problems were and the solutions he discovered on his own, and then maybe throw in a little bit of my own advice on those problems to kind of help anybody who's listening to this not have to face their problems on their own, you know? There's a quote, I can't remember it exactly, but it says something like, a wise man learns from the mistakes of others and a fool runs into his own walls, or something like that. And so for anybody listening to this that decides to go on this path, you know, you can hear some of the problems we faced and learn without having to stumble yourself. So going off of that, Adam, what was your number one problem once you went back to school and tried to implement this way of thinking and this mindset?
Okay, my number one problem, it was pretty obvious now that I think about it, which is juggling my priorities. Not even juggling my priorities, ordering my priorities. You know, once you start fixing your mindset and realizing what's important to you, your priorities begin to rearrange themselves, and that becomes chaos because as more things become more or less important, you know, you're changing the way you live, you're changing your norms, and it just sometimes it gets too chaotic and you can lose sight of other priorities that are more important.
So over the course of, you know, several months while it was happening to you, did you ever end up coming up with some sort of solution that worked for you, or are you still kind of stuck on that problem?
Well, actually, I didn't have a problem for a while because my priorities were pretty stagnant. My priorities were workout, go do my work at school, eat healthily, as in like me trying to lose weight, and maintain a healthy social life, and that was about it. Those four things: eating, working out. Oh, five things, I guess: sleeping and school.
So
Uh,
when did the priority, if you were juggling those five things fine, what was the wrench that kind of got thrown in there that skewed everything?
well, as I approached the end of my working term at school, I realized that I had more free time. Now that I'm not doing school, I have about 2 weeks of break and between my next term, and I wanted to prioritize that free time. I wanted to make good use of it, not just twiddle my thumbs. And that's when I realized I haven't been pursuing the thing that I've been wanting to pursue for years now, which is computer science programming. I haven't been practicing that at all. So I kind of threw myself headlong into it, which was good and bad. I made a lot of progress, more than I have in a while, in terms of dedicating myself to it. Like that's something people struggle with a lot, is they're interested in a passion and they want to throw themselves into it, but they might get bored of it quickly, or they just take it too slow, or they don't invest enough into it, and or even then they just don't have enough free time to invest into it. But it went really well in terms of interest in computer science. Like every moment that I have free time, I'm like, all right, time to do some work. But at the same time, it took away from other priorities. Like I didn't care as much about eating healthily. I just wanted to eat quickly so I can go get back to work. Like I would never drop working out. For me, that's like one of the most important habits. But it like, I wasn't organized. I wasn't having a consistent sleep schedule, and it hasn't affected my health, but it's definitely affected my productivity and other things. Like I'm only programming. It's not so bad considering it's an admirable thing to pursue, but it can get in the way when you have to figure out other priorities, like especially considering the school term is going to start again soon.
I mean, it could be a lot worse, right? Like you could be snorting cocaine and banging hookers like half the other people at your school that are on break, but instead, or watching Netflix 13 hours a day. Instead, you decided to program, which is nice. But I can see that throwing yourself headlong into it, right, when you didn't have a particular schedule, kind of might have made you miss some of your juggles as you were trying to juggle everything. At the very least, you
Oh
managed to
yeah,
maintain the working out.
and this is one of the juggles that I've been neglecting, is the podcast. I haven't been editing the episodes. I mean, the past few days I have been, but like before, the weeks prior, I've been slacking, and that's something I've been banging myself over the head, as well as Chris has. But like even though it's something you can acknowledge, yes, I have to do this. This is a responsibility of mine. You still won't do it, and that's one of the worst feelings in the world. So I'm glad I'm out of that. I feel great right now. I feel so good right now because I'm moving. But if you and there's a solution. We'll talk about the solution in a second. But if you don't keep track of all of the things that are important for you, they build up and topple on top of you. And there's always everyone, no matter who you are, has more responsibilities than you want, and you'll never not.
So one of the things that is important going off this is that when you decide to do something, you need to take a few moments to contemplate how much you want this thing, especially if it's something new, right? Because let's say you're juggling five things and you're contemplating adding in a sixth thing. You have to think, how much do I want this sixth thing? What am I willing to sacrifice to fit this sixth thing into my juggles, right? Because normally you're going to try to fit in a sixth thing and everything's going to fall apart. You're not going to be able to juggle six objects at the same time and it's just going to collapse. Or you're going to prioritize the sixth thing above your other five things and then it's again going to throw everything for a loop. So the first thing you have to do is contemplate how much you want it. The second thing is how much am I going to sacrifice for it? And after you do that contemplation, you really want to sit down and schedule things out. I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to
Yeah, that's the
time management.
solution I was talking about.
Yeah, when it comes to time management, one of the most important things is to schedule things out. Because if you're like, let's say you just like you decided to code, right? You kind of threw yourself headlong into it because you realized you weren't doing it. Well, why weren't you doing it if you wanted to do it? Because you were juggling these other things, and it wasn't coming to your mind. You weren't. It's not like every day you would be doing your things and go, oh, wow, I haven't been coding. It's not like you got an hour of free time and you were like, oh man, I haven't been coding, and then you neglected it. It wasn't in your mind anymore, right? You were juggling all this other stuff, so it wasn't coming into your mind in the foreground. In the back of your mind somewhere, it was still there, but right in the present foreground, you weren't thinking like, okay, I need to work out. Sorry, I need
Right.
to.
It's the kind of thing that you think about when you're lying awake trying to go to bed, but it's not the kind of thing that you think about when you have 30 minutes of free time.
Exactly, and that's kind of one of the things that it's important to note, and it's important to realize why you should make a schedule. And not only should you make a schedule, you should make a list of goals that you're trying to accomplish, even if they're small and seemingly insignificant. When you write things down and you keep them written down and you look at them, like once a week you go and you look at your list of goals, it really helps ground you and give you a direction, right? The reason that I move
That's
forward
what Joe
so
Rogan
easily
talks
daily.
about.
Yeah, that's right. When the reason I move forward so easily on a day to day basis is because I have a list of goals written down and I have a schedule, which in my schedule is a lot of time that will progress me towards each of those goals. Any extra time that I manage to get on top of that for some reason, like let's say it's a community service day and it rains, so I can't go to community service, all of a sudden there's this extra time that got freed up. Any extra time, that's time that I look at my goals and I pick one that I want to make a little bit of extra progress on, and I'll throw myself at that. That's also time that I'll take for some of the things that I sacrificed, right? In my schedule, I've sacrificed a lot of things. Like I've sacrificed anime, I've sacrificed video games as unless I'm streaming. I've sacrificed a lot of things that eat up my free time. And so if I get surprise free time, um, I'll make a decision of, is this a time I need to take to re-energize a little bit, to relax a little bit, or is this time that I need to push towards my goals more because I don't know, maybe I get the extra free time on a Friday and the next day Saturday, so I have a little bit of time to relax, right? Whereas if I get the extra free time, um, if I get the extra free time on a Saturday or a Sunday, it's like, okay, this is my time to re-energize because Monday I'm going to go back into the week and it's going to be super hectic, right? So Adam, have you made a list of goals yet, or a schedule, or not really?
No, I have a concrete list of goals. My first and number one priority is finishing school. My second priority is reaching my weight goal, and my second and third priority are kind of like merged, which is my health, weight goal and physical fitness. And my fourth priority is producing a video game by the time I graduate school. Like not like producing one video game. Like I'll obviously have practiced and created certain things here and there, but I'm talking about like a full production video game that I can put on a market of some sort. Right now, those are my four goals.
All right, that sounds good to me, Adam. Um,
I think of them
have
as three
you
goals, but yeah.
have you created a schedule that you're going to follow when you go back to school, or not yet? Are you still contemplating that?
What I'm doing with that is I'm waiting until my classes are decided because I'm gonna be changing my classes throughout the next week. This happens to me every term where I have the first week to change and alter my schedule every term, and I always do. So by the end of this first week, I will know my school schedule, and then I'll base everything else around that. Did you get that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hold up, one sec, one sec. Right. So your schedule's based mainly off of your class schedule. So obviously you need to know what classes you're gonna stick into before you
Right.
really make a schedule. All right. So obviously I imagine that that's going to be priority number one. Once you have your class schedule, you're gonna schedule your free time out and then try to stick to it.
How
All
about
right.
you?
So
What are your current goals?
all right, my goals are kind of lofty. All right. So um, I don't even know where the hell I'm gonna start. Give me 1 second.
Start with your biggest priority, the thing you have to do before you die. Of course, my goals are kind of short term in comparison to probably what you're talking about.
Yeah. All right. No, I've got them here. I had to pull it up because I know my goals. It's just I want to be as specific as possible, and I don't want to like accidentally leave one off. All right. So as far as working out goes, in the short term goal, I'm trying to bulk. I'm on a bulk phase right now, so I'm trying to get up to 186 with 15% body fat by November 10th. All right, and I'm 182 right now, so I'm only 4 pounds away. Um, the medium term goal, meaning by the time I finish house arrest, is to be 175 and between 5 to 8% body fat. And the long term goal is to be 175 pounds with 3 to 5% body fat. My next goal, I'm just going to give you guys the long term goals for these next goals. For boxing, um, I want to be a world champion. For poker, I want to win a World Series of Poker
You
bracelet.
want to wear that belt?
Yeah. For poker, I want to win a World Series of Poker bracelet. For streaming, I want to be partnered with Twitch. That's my long term goal. Um, then in writing, I have a list of about 12 books that I want to write, and I want to finish. My long term goal is to finish that list. Then I have an extra long term goal, which is to finish all the ones that I come up with after that, right? Like it's just going to be a never ending stream. As soon as I finish that list, I'm going to create another list because there are always things that I want to, get my opinion out there and research and, maybe try to reach some people with through my writing. Then I have a smaller goal, which is less relevant. This is probably the lowest priority goal, which is rap. I want to produce one rap song at some point, as dumb as that sounds, just because I don't know. Um,
Like
it
a
seems
good one,
fun.
like one you're proud of.
Yeah, exactly. Like a good ass rap song. It's a nice beat and everything. And then I actually recently acquired another goal, which is it's a very long stretch goal, like probably 10 years from now kind of thing. But I want to play on stage at DEF CON with my friend Tufts because I don't know, I fucking love music. And that's one of the goals that it's not limited by physical ability, right? Like my boxing goal and my working
Yeah,
out
you
goal
could
and
be
stuff. Like,
40.
yeah, I can be 40 and start at 40 and still make it, right? As long as I am dedicated. Whereas the physical goals that I have, I have to just keep going
Yeah,
from right
time's running
now,
out.
right? Exactly, right? But whereas like, even with the poker and stuff like that, I still could start it later. It's just I'd rather start it now. It's a lot more convenient and it's a lot more beneficial to me if I start earlier. Obviously, with any goal, even with the hardstyle one, it's just because I'm juggling all these other things, I don't want to add in the hardstyle one quite yet. Once I finish community service, I'm scheduling time with Tufts at least once a week to start working on that because I fucking love music. Like I'm addicted to finding new songs and it's very enjoyable. So I really want to push through that. Um,
Well,
I want to ask you something though, Adam, about another problem that you faced
yeah.
aside from your scheduling and your time management and like losing your focus of priority. What would you say was, let's say, the second most difficult problem that you faced during this time?
The second most difficult problem, I guess, I mean, I don't feel this way anymore, but when I started losing my grip was probably like I was feeling not alone, but like isolated. I felt, especially in Philly, I felt like alone. Like I felt that I really wasn't surrounded by people who I needed to be surrounded with. But that's changed actually. I've made a few friends this past term who especially one who I just truly am glad to be around.
I can definitely empathize with that problem because I started realizing the exact same thing when I started taking a look at the people I surrounded myself with, and especially once I got off house arrest, some of the people that didn't come and see me that I was good friends with for years, and it kind of made me like I started thinking, how many of these people are actually bringing things to the table? Like when I hang out with them, how many of these people am I benefiting from hanging out with them, and how many of these people am I just hanging out with them because it's fun, right? And I started realizing like, wow, I need to
Well, that's
surround
a
myself
that's
with
a
better company,
pretty
right?
a pretty dark way of looking at it, and
No, of
I'm not
course,
saying I
but
don't agree because sadly especially this early part of the Busa path is entirely about efficiency. So you can't spend too much time with people who you only spend time with for fun, and it sucks.
correct. You can spend time with them, but that's what your free time is going to be devoted to, right? Like,
Right, and you can't
and
just
you can't
spend the
do other things,
weekend,
right?
staying up playing Halo with them. You can't, like
No, you
it
can't do
really
that.
sucks. But those kinds of things are on hold right now, and it's not to say we'll never do that again. The beautiful part about our path is, we're working now, so we don't have to work in the future.
Correct, and that's the idea: is that it's difficult to make the sacrifice now, especially. And here's where I'm going to throw in my one of my um, well, not really one of my problems. One of the problems I've seen in some of the other Busas, which is not getting dragged down by the people around them and not falling prey to the mentality of, oh, but everybody else is like taking Sunday and doing nothing, so I might as well take Sunday and do nothing, and just kind of relaxing and losing their edge and losing that sharpness to their mind and to their productivity, and they
Right, and
stop
it's a
sacrificing certain things.
uniqueness, and it's like
That's also part of
it's
what
hard
isolates you.
to keep in mind what's important, especially in those situations where you're the only one who you feel knows what's truly important for you.
Yeah, and the difficulty there is that you have to have a battle between logic and emotion, because there's a lot of time where emotionally you're like, okay, yeah, but like for me, right? I mean, and I've thrown this completely to the wayside now. I've been completely operating off of logic lately, um, where my bedtime hits and I'm like, all right, everyone can go fuck themselves, right? I don't care who is around me. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sleep, and I just go to sleep, right? And it sucks, man. It really, really sucks, especially when if I have a visitor over and like we're having a great time and like my bedtime hits, I'm like, all right, fuck off. And like I go and I go to sleep. Obviously, I don't tell them that, people. Like I obviously am respectful and tell them like, okay, I have to go to sleep, and then I go to sleep. But having to do that and then going to sleep and then going into the work week or something like that it's really brutal, but I'm always grateful for it because it keeps my sleep schedule. It keeps me productive. I've been like on fire lately in terms of work and in terms of everything. So as difficult as it is, you have to realize that the sacrifices now are what are going to build your empire in the future, right? And if you don't sacrifice in the now, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, but you're so young. You're only 23. Why are you sacrificing so much? Eat a donut. Eat this. Don't go to sleep now. Like, stay up a little longer. I came in from out of town. Like, um, I don't know, like, oh, just have some fun, play some video games. Like, why are you working so hard on a Saturday? Why are you working so hard on a Sunday, bitch? Because I want to get out there and get fat stacks. Because I don't want to be part of the fucking 9 to 5 rat race like you. I don't want to be stuck in this goddamn maze anymore. That's why, and that's an internal hunger that is driving me now, and it's made it so I deflect all of that now. People try to influence me in that way, and it doesn't work because internally, I snapped about 3 4 weeks ago. I just snapped. I had this internal, I don't know what it is. I felt it snapped
I
inside
thought
me,
it
and I
was
was like,
like
fuck
I thought it
this.
was like a week and a half ago.
No, it happened a little bit before that, but Yes, that's when you became aware of it. When I was being very.
Uh,
That's when I
no,
implemented the changes, right? Very
I mean
directly
honestly,
implemented the changes.
I'm very grateful for your what I don't want to say a negative word. I guess the proper word would be something like passion because you when I was throwing myself into programming, I definitely was being very emotional, thinking, this is the right thing to do. It doesn't matter that I'm shirking certain responsibilities because this is the most important thing for me right now. But then obviously brought me back. You told me, I can't abandon responsibilities. That's why they're called responsibilities.
Precisely, and I hate, like, sometimes I feel bad doing that kind of stuff, but I realize in the end, like, at least with
No,
you,
no. I mean,
you
I
understand
tell
why it's
you,
coming,
I
right?
tell you whenever you like reprimand me, I tell you, I'm like, please don't stop. Like this, I like if you don't do it, no one else will.
Exactly, and that's kind of the thing, and that's why people get so comfortable and people get so relaxed, is because they don't have a me, right? Like, I don't have a me either. For me, I am me, right? I have a little mental terrorist in my head, and he fucks with me, all right. But for the rest of the Busas, that's kind of what I do for them. I'm a crutch for the rest of you until you develop your own mental terrorist, where I don't have to really. I mean, I'm obviously still going to check in on with you. I obviously want all of you in my lives and stuff, but there's going to be a point where you guys are going to be 100% Busa on your own, right? And I'm no
Yeah.
longer going to have to be stepping in and
I mean,
reminding you of simple concepts, right?
I have a mental terrorist of certain things, but only like like working out. That's about it.
Exactly. So
Working out and sleep are what I have down right now.
yeah, so over time that'll develop to where it's just everything, right? Everything, you're seeing it in a completely different light. And for me right now, the thing is that I have this hunger that is, it's ridiculously strong, and I don't want to be stuck where I am anymore, and I don't want to have to go through this life, because I've gone through all the shit that I've gone through, and I've been stuck in a cycle that I don't want to be stuck in, and I've had to sacrifice so much already, like, in my life, that at this point I have to make it, because otherwise I'm going to hate myself for the sacrifices I made. Like, if I don't make it after sacrificing all of what I've sacrificed, it's going to feel like I sacrificed all of that for nothing. It's going to feel like, man, I should have just stayed up till 4 in the morning every single time playing video games with my cousin, because in the end it didn't amount to anything. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm pushing as hard as I can forward to make sure I make it, to make sure that I reach my goals. I'm throwing my life into this, right? And that's been what's happening lately. And I mean, that's, if you look at my streams and stuff, you'll notice that when I made the huge leap, that was about a week and a half ago, when I started waking up at 4:30 in the morning every morning and just going ham, like going in every day. I'm streaming in the morning. I'm streaming my yoga in the morning. I'm streaming workouts after work. I'm streaming for about an hour of playing a video game. I'm writing. I'm reading. I'm doing everything, right? And I have absolutely no life. Like, Monday through Friday, there's not even a point of having a visitor, because I can talk to them for maybe 30 minutes, and then I have to go to sleep. I have 30 minutes of time from 4:30 in the morning until 9:30 p.m. Only 30 minutes that can be not productive. Everything else is scheduled in as productive things. And it may seem to a lot of people like, oh, but you're going to burn yourself out, but this, but that. Wow. You could never be so wrong, actually. Because I've been at points in time where I burned myself out, and this is not one of them. I'm feeling how energized and strong and productive I have become by following this schedule, and it's nuts. And I'm realizing the more I follow it, the stronger I'm going to get, right? Because it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to follow the schedule. It's hard
Yeah,
when
but
my alarm
everything
goes off
else
at
is gonna
4:30 in the
be
morning,
easy in
right?
comparison.
Exactly. Everything else in my life from here on out, any other schedule that I have to do later in the future is going to be easy to follow, right? Getting up at 4:30 in the morning is a pain in the fucking ass, right? I see that alarm clock and I just want to shut it off. Like, I can sleep, and, like, look, every morning I have this choice. I have the choice of, oh, I can just turn off my alarm and wake up at 5:45, right? And then go to work. I don't have to wake up at 4:30. I could get another hour and 15 minutes of sleep. Imagine waking up as tired as can be, and then having the willpower to be like, no, I'm getting up now, right? You're exhausted, your body is wrecked to complete shit because you've been working out twice a day, every day, and waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and you still wake up and do it again, right? And you become so energized and full of life after doing this because of all the progress you make. I've been making so much progress on my books and even on my streams and stuff. I've had more stream engagement lately. I've had people come in and check out my workout streams, and then they bleed into checking out my video game streams. Um, I finished a book, a poker book that I was reading that I was making very slow progress on, but now that I've scheduled in reading, I completely blasted through it, and I'm halfway through another one. So I'm making moves, right? And that
No,
productivity, the accomplishment, is super super important.
this episode in particular, I'm extremely excited to come back and listen to, like 2 years down the line.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy to hear this shit. First, let me say a quick overview of some of the problems that I've seen in the other boosters, which is other people suck them down and make them stop growing. Right? They fall into this like, oh, but it's this special occasion, so I'm gonna drink. Oh, it's this special occasion, so I'm gonna eat a bunch of food and fuck this. Oh, but I was so tired, so I'm not gonna work out, or like whatever random
Yeah, the
bullshit. They just start
worst
making
one, the
excuses.
worst one is like, oh, I've been really good this week. I can binge this weekend.
Exactly, and that's not okay. That's not acceptable, right? Because you just undo stuff, right? You just undo a lot of the progress that you've made. And standing still is negative progress, in my opinion, because it's time you threw into the gutter, right? And it's important that the thing that all the other boosters are missing, and not to throw you under the bus, but all the other boosters are missing this right now simply because they haven't been in the particular situations that I have been that have shown me the importance of this hunger, right? And that's why I've
Yeah,
been sending you
it's
these
a lack of
motivational videos,
experience.
right? Yeah, I've been sending you guys these motivational videos and stuff, hoping that it sparks something in you and you start realizing like these people, these famous people that got all the way up there and climbed to the top of the world, they did so through sheer effort. It's not just luck, it's sheer effort. Obviously luck plays some part, but through sheer effort they made it there, right? They outworked everybody around them. And the thing is that um, that's what some of the other boosters are missing, is they're missing that this isn't a game, right? We're not playing some sort of game. This isn't, as chill as we are, all of us, all the boosters are super chill people. As chill as we are, it's important to realize that this is a serious path. This is not something that you just step on. Oh, I'm going to be a Busa, and then like 3 weeks later, oh, nah, I don't really feel like being a Busa. No, no, no. This is a lifetime commitment. This is about as serious as it can get, right? And now, as far as my problem goes, I started internalizing praise in a very odd way, and I started letting people dull me down. And once I realized that, I stopped, and I haven't let it happen since. But people started saying stuff to me like, "Oh, but like don't work too hard. You're doing so much already. Like you're doing this, you're doing that. Like you don't need to do more. You don't need to do more. Like all this kind of stuff." And I started looking around, and it's something
Yeah,
that I
you
tell
can
people not
never
to
do
do,
too
right?
much.
Exactly. And this is what I started pointing out is like, do not compare yourself to other people. This is an important lesson to anybody listening. Don't compare yourself to other people, because no matter what, it's going to be negative. I'll tell you why. Because let's say you're a piece of trash human being and you compare yourself to other people. Are you going to feel good? No, you're going to feel like trash, because you're going to realize how trash of a human being you are. And if you're an awesome human being and you're kicking ass and you compare yourself to other people, is that going to be good for you? No, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to be like, well, I'm the only human being, of all the human beings I know that works out every day without failure. I guess I can take a day off. That's what you're going to say to yourself, because you're going to be like, oh, I'm already outpacing all these people around me. I guess I can slow down a little. Why? Leave them in the fucking dust, all right? Fuck everyone around you. Like, just because they're not doing it. It's like the whole, just because everybody jumps off a bridge, are you going to do it? Fuck no. So don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to the you of yesterday. Compare yourself to the you of a week ago. Compare yourself to the you of a month ago. And make sure you always have that upwards progress, that forwards progress, right? That's probably the number one problem I had, which is when I had you next near me, Adam, and I was mentoring you, it was very easy to always be pushing forward, because one, I was mentoring you. Like my free time was mentoring you. So all my other time I had to be productive as fuck. My free time was mentoring you. And then aside from that, I had this obligation almost to show you how it's done. You know what I mean? To show you, hey, this is how you be Busa, right? While you were there watching me. Then you left, and I was Busa. I was Busa, but my like 100% progress started slowing down, and then I was operating at about 70%, and I had accepted it. I said, you know what, this is good. I can keep this pace. I'll keep this pace, and I'll get to the end of house arrest, and then I'll go 100% Busa. Why?
You said it best like 2 weeks ago, which is never be comfortable. As soon as you're comfortable, realize it and get uncomfortable. You can never stop trying to push yourself further. Like, even if you can't, you have to at least try.
Exactly, because can't is not in the fucking vocabulary. So if you think to yourself, oh, but I can't go further, how do you know? Have you tried? How long have you tried? A couple days? That's not enough. A couple months? That's not enough. A couple years? Still not enough, man. Unless you try your entire life, you'll never know. Because the way
Yeah,
the
you
way
you might never be able to lift, 200 pounds, but then 3 months later, after trying to lift 200 pounds, you'll do it.
Exactly. And this is one of, it's not really a quote, but it's something that I used to tell people that's important about quitting, which is similar to not trying. If you're in a room with a billion people, okay, and everybody in that room has the same goal, all right, I am going to bench press 500 pounds, okay? Well, after about a week, 90% of that people in that room are going to be gone, okay? After about a month, 90% of that remaining amount are going to be gone. After about a year, 90% of the remaining amount are going to be gone. After 5 years, 90% of that are going to be gone, right? And after 10 years, as long as you're the only one who never gave up and never stopped trying, you're going to be the only motherfucker left in that room still trying to bench the 500 pounds. And guess what? That means that you're going to be the one who has done the most progress and also the one who has tried the most to reach benching 500 pounds. So let's say nobody else on the planet had ever benched 500 pounds, right? Well, you're the only one qualified enough at that point to say it's not possible because you're the one who has pushed the most and done the most effort to try to reach there. So you're also the closest one to potentially break that barrier of benching 500 pounds. And then one day you might just bench 500 pounds and break that barrier. You can't possibly say it's not possible or I can't do it unless you've put your life on the line and tried everything in your human capability to reach there, which most people do not do. And I think it's extremely important that you realize there's a lot of paths in life and there's nothing wrong with leading a comfortable life. But in a comfortable life, you will not get what you want unless you want a comfortable life, in which case, go right ahead. But if you want to be number one, if you want to be on top, if you want to reach some crazy high goal, which if you're going to be a Busa, you're supposed to set high goals, that you can't be comfortable. Every day you need to be out there hustling, 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 trying your best, sacrificing everything in the moment. And look, it is going to suck, all right? When you look back, it's going to suck. There are going to be times like you're going to hang out with someone for 2 hours, 3 hours, and then you're going to be like, all right, you have to go. I have to go to sleep, right? And it's going to be on a Sunday. And the next day you're going to go to work and you're going to go through the grind, go through the grind, go through the grind. All of a sudden it's the next weekend. You hang out with someone for 2 hours. Okay, you have to go. I have to go to sleep, right? And you're getting small tidbits of people here and there. And a lot of people are like, oh, but isn't that lonely? Like, don't you feel like whatever? No, because I know that the people who are important to me are still around, right? Adam is still around. The other Busas, I have them to fall back on if I need them for anything. And it's important to realize that you're overestimating the importance of relaxation, rejuvenation time. Oh, I need to take some time to myself. Binge watches Netflix for 13 hours. You're overestimating how much you need that, and you're underestimating your own capabilities. I think everybody should just try harder, honestly.
Let's wrap it up.
All right, sounds good.
I
We
mean,
want to make a closing statement?
yeah, it's hard. Everything in life is hard until it becomes easy. If you don't push through the hard things, then life will always be hard. There's a quote that I love. I love it so much, which is, do hard things and you'll live an easy life. Do easy things and you'll live a hard life.
And on that note, we're going to conclude this episode of the Busa Riding God King podcast. Thank you, Adam, for coming in and giving all your problematic answers. We are now officially done with the first season. And I would like to tell anybody that is listening, good luck, all of you, on your journeys in life. If you really want it, go out there and get it. Outwork me. All right, wake up earlier than me. Wake up at 4:25 and get out there and make moves, and you will reach your goals. I believe in you. All right, fuck Craig.
Yeah, fuck you, Craig.